very much looking forward to having one of the highlights of this conference, a very special conference being hosted and chaired by a very important member of our advisory board, the Honorable Dirk Niebel. Ladies and gentlemen, the panel discussion that we are going to now enter is a topic which is one very important to the development of the field of culture diplomacy. I'll read the title first and then maybe say 2 sentences as to why it's also so important. Developing Economic Cooperation Between Germany and the Arab World. For us at the Institute for Culture Diplomacy, the stronger the economic bridge is between countries and regions, the easier it is for culture diplomacy. And the same goes in reverse. The better the culture diplomacy is working, of course, the easier it is for economic cooperation. And I think it's essential that we try to foster further economic cooperation between these nations as well as these regions. But I'll stop there and I'll leave it to the experts to continue more in that direction. But it's a very important topic. And then, again, if the panelists could please all come to the stage, Mr. Yakis as well. And what I'd like to do now is not to do very long introductions, but I thought I would just say a few words about our chairperson, since this is the first time we've had his interjection in this conference, and then just mention the names of those who are also on the panel, and then we can begin right away with the session. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Dirk Niebel is a German politician. From 2005 until 2009, he was Secretary General of the FDP, Free Democratic Party. From 2009 until 2013, he served as Federal Minister of Economic Cooperation and Development. From 2000 until 2010, Niebel served as Vice President of the Deutsch-Israelische Gesellschaft, the German-Israeli Society. His commitments for the cooperation is clear. In January 2011, Niebel met with Israeli Deputy Foreign Minister Danny Ayalon and signed a joint declaration of intent aimed to increase bilateral cooperation in an effort to assist developing nations, agreeing to work towards the rehabilitation of contaminated Lake Victoria in Kenya, the main source of water for several states and one of the sources of the Nile River. In February of the same year, Deputy Foreign Minister Danny Ayalon and Niebel met again to examine aid in the new Republic of South Sudan, just as a few examples of the cooperation which he directly has helped with. But of course, the list goes much further. And this is actually where my colleagues have stopped the bio, because I think, again, the bio is so rich, there's no chance to do justice to it properly. One important addition I would like to add, we remain sincerely grateful to you, Dirk Niebel, for having helped us and supported the Institute in the recent years. Through your role as an advisory board member, we've had excellent cooperations inside and outside of Europe. The recent project that we also did in Montenegro, I still have fond memories of. So it's really wonderful also personally to have you here today to chair this panel. Allow me to say a few words about the panelists, which are going to help us to gain further insights on the topic for the discussion. First of all, of course, we have the Honorable Dirk Niebel, former Minister of Economic Development of Germany. In addition, we have Mohammed Akbar Al-Ghazi, Deputy Chairman of the Majlis Al-Shura Council of Oman, Secretary General Fadi Khalaf, Secretary General of the Arab Federation of Exchanges, the Honorable Rashed Al-Balooshi, CEO of the Abu Dhabi Stock Exchange, the Honorable Hassan Diab, former Minister of Education of Lebanon, the Honorable Yasar Yakis, former Foreign Minister of Turkey, Samir Barhoum, Chief Editor of the Jordan Times, Diab al-Asadi, Member of the Parliament of Iraq and leader of the Al-Ahrar bloc, as well as Zuraida Binti Kamaruddin, Member of the Parliament of Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask you to all please join me in helping to give a very, very warm welcome to Dirk Niebel and the panelists. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here again. Only maybe for the introduction, the issue of this panel is the economic cooperation between Germany and the Arab world. Mark told a lot about the German-Israeli cooperation, also a trilateral cooperation with some Arab countries. In my time as a federal minister for economic cooperation and development, I was in charge for mostly the poorer Arab countries, especially for the Palestinian Authority. And to cooperate as a German federal minister with the Palestinian Authority, you have to cooperate also with the Israeli government to make sure, especially in critical issues like water, irrigation, and things like this, you have to find a common solution because this issue is so crucial in the area. It's so close together, everything, that you have to cooperate with everybody to have a good result at least. I'm very happy that we are here and can talk about the opportunities of German-Arab economic cooperation because I think that we have common interests. and sometimes you also have common values. Even if in German published and public opinion, not everybody is talking about this. We also think that our economic strengthening is useful for the behavior of the people for their life. And for this, I think it's very important to know, even if you have difficult or different political opinions sometimes, trade and political exchange belongs together because you stay in contact. And staying in contact is one of the main opportunities we have as former politicians and actual politicians. And I think it would be good to get from each of the panelists a first, hopefully short statement to the issue of this panel, because we are 8 panelists and we have auditorium which is also interested to come into contact and discussion with us. And so please, for the first statement from the panel, I think we should start ladies first, from your side, from the left-hand side, go around. If you could manage it to stay in 2 or 3 minutes, it would be wonderful, and then we find the issues for the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorary Dirk, right? Am I right?
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, thanks. I'm surprised that you got me first, quite off guard. But anyway.
Are you an actual member of a parliament?
Yeah.
I think all the others are retired or something like this.
I'm still running, okay?
Or are not members. Yes, or not members.
The rest, you're still a member, right?
No, I'm out.
You're out already. All right, I hope from this experience here that it could make me a better member of parliament in Malaysia, and for that matter, it could have contributed more to the country as well to the world. But anyway, we're talking about developing economic cooperation between Germany and the Arab world, and I see that Germany as being one of the advanced country and more mature democracy country, where you would like to share all your resources, probably not all, some of your resources to help the world, especially those poorer Arab countries. And you mentioned Palestine, and you go into these public infrastructures and so on and so forth. It would be, of course, would be helpful to them. But nevertheless, because going by this symposium where we're talking about cultural diplomacy, I think there's a more critical issue where we should play a more active role to resolve these issues of conflicts and disputes. Yeah. So, of course, economy is one part of it. It's important because without the proper assistance and financial help and so on and so forth, they could not move on. But the situation, the unrest in that area has to be resolved also simultaneously. And I really hope when you bring about these economic activities in these Arab countries, at the same time also you try to promote better culture, understanding and tolerance, so that your economic contributions to this country will be made more, what should I say, more dominant in that sense. So then it's worth it. It's worth it. You know, otherwise you go in and put in your economic input. After that, there's unrest and war and all this. It will go back to the square one. Right? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Al-Assadi. May you hand over the micro? Yeah, thank you.
I will go a little bit in...
Can you press the button?
Oh, yeah. I will dig down into the relationship between UAE and Germany and looking at the cooperation. I have found out that I've done some small research. I have found out that the trade between UAE and Germany in 2015 was 52 billion euro. And that is 25% of all the Middle East. So 25% of all Middle East, between Middle East and Germany, comes from UAE. And the export products and services from Germany into UAE in 2015 was 14.6 billion euros. As we talk today, there are 900 big companies operating. There are German companies that are operating in UAE. There are 12,000 German nationalities live in UAE. And on a yearly basis, there are 50,000 German visits UAE as a tourist. This is on one hand. On the other hand, when you look at the forecast, as we said in my presentation earlier, that UAE is diversifying the economy away from oil. And we are relying into products, services, we are relying into manufacturing businesses and services related to almost all aspects. So Germany could be a good opportunity, could be a good benchmark for a place like UAE to rely on, to look at, to consider. And this is why I think the future between UAE and Germany should be brighter, should be more opportunities to be grabbed between two parties. And I see that clearly. Maybe I don't have the name in my mind, but I've seen cooperation between the government of Abu Dhabi, the government of UAE, and some companies, maybe semi-government companies in Germany, developing, producing products and services. So I believe with the past experience between us, with the current condition that we rely on, the future of the cooperation is available, and all what we need to do just to shift up the gear and strengthen the communication to proceed with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Al-Khalafi. Without Al, Mr. Khalaf.
Yes, I would like to mention two kind of cooperation that might happen between Germany and the Arab region. First, as Arab Federation of Exchanges, we are a little bit surprised to see that all possibilities to have technology and let's say trading systems for the Arab exchanges are limited to 2 or 3 kind of trading systems. We have the NASDAQ trading system from the US, and we have which is like 80% of the Arab stock exchanges, and we have like 5 exchanges, Arab exchanges dealing with the Euronext trading system, the French one or the European one, and one of our exchanges is equipped with now will be equipped with Millennium IT, which is a part of London Stock Exchange trading system. But we know that Deutsche Börse is one of the most well equipped by the technology, and we've never seen Deutsche Börse helping or trying to offer any kind of trading system in the region. For us, the more we have the choices for trading system, the more it will be better for us to enlarge the choice. First. Second, our region needs more financial instruments and engineering and financial instruments for derivatives, for any new kinds not already used in our region. And I think that with the knowledge and with the know-how of Deutsche Börse can offer a lot to the region on this level. This is on the Arab exchanges level. Now, as a Lebanese, I would like also to mention 2 possibilities. The first possibility that soon the Lebanese government will publish a tender offer, will ask for tender offer to dig for oil and gas in the region and in the sea of Lebanon. And till now we have seen Russian and American trying to get their part of those contracts. Recently, the French minister came to Lebanon also to ask for the possibility of being a part of this tender offer, but we think that also German is completely out till now, so why not trying to be also part of this future possibility? And finally, Lebanon, is in the frontier with and fighting against Daesh, against ISIS. So the Lebanese army needs a lot of help and support with material and with other possibilities. Until now, those possibilities are limited to American material and to French material. Why not German material? Thank you.
It's a special issue. We will come later during the discussion back to that point. Please, it's your turn.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I mean, if I look to Germany, it's the third or fourth largest economy. And to my understanding, I guess the involvement of Germany in the Arab world and in Egypt is not at the level of the size of the German economy. I can see that there should be an area of enhancement of the economic cooperation between Germany and the Arab world. I still remember 5, 6, 7 years ago when we have a vocational program. It's a project called Mubarak. Mubarak was the president of Egypt and Kohl was here in Germany. And what I would like to say, it is not only about the financial participation, but the know-how. Everybody knows the miracle of Germany after the Second World War and how they managed to put their economy as the third largest economy in the world. And I guess we need to learn more about this experience and how the Arab world can restructure their economy from the revenue economy, especially many of the countries, they are depending on oil, many of the countries, they are depending on tourism industry. But we need to have a manufacturing part in our economy. And I guess Germany is one of the biggest countries in the world that can help Egypt, that can help the Arab world of how to restructure their economy. And as well as if we look to the economic structure of Germany, you will find that the small and medium-sized enterprises, they are playing a key role in the German economy. But to my understanding, between 70 to 80% of total employment as well as the GDP is coming from the small and medium-sized enterprises. And if you look to the structure of the economy of the Arab world, you will find a mirror here that these small and medium-sized enterprises that they are talking about the low-income people or they are talking about middle-class people, they are shaping the economy. But until now, we are not able to enhance the SMEs. So I guess, again, taking the experience of Germany of how to put the better governance of managing the SMEs is something is needed from Germany. So it's not only about increasing or enhancing the trade relationship between Germany and the Arab world, but what is more important is the knowledge and the know-how. Because I can tell that the Arab world at large, they are not in a need for more financial flow or for foreign direct investment to go to the countries, because many of the countries in the Arab world, they are capital exports countries. But the reality is that what we need more is to have an equal opportunity to deal with Germany, to understand their experience, to get them more involved in the decision-making process in the region. Especially Germany is not a simple country, it's the third or the largest world economy in the world.
Thank you. Would you like to take over?
Sure. Well, for those of you who are aware of what's going on in Lebanese politics, I guess you will understand when I say I'm a former Minister of Education and Higher Education in the previous cabinet. As a minister, I was in charge of a large ministry, and I saw a lot of cooperation, whether on the economic front or other fronts between Lebanon and Germany. The ministry basically involved three major sectors: education. You may be aware there are several German schools in Lebanon, and there are lots of cooperations in that respect. Also, another sector is higher education. There's also a German school, German university in Lebanon, Lebanese German University, which is doing very well. And I know there are lots of collaborations and agreements between universities or higher education institutions. There are 48 of them now in Lebanon and universities in Germany. And more importantly, the VTE sector, which is the vocational and technical education. There are quite a few agreements that I signed myself between German organizations and the Ministry of Education and Higher Education. As Vice President of the American University of Beirut, I'm also in charge of I represent the consulting arm of AUB. So again, I've had the opportunity to collaborate with quite a few institutions and NGOs and all sorts of projects, whether related to Syrian refugees or otherwise in Lebanon. But I have to stress that one of the major ways that Lebanon can benefit from is the VTE sector. Germany is extremely advanced in the vocational and technical education sector, and I think this is a sector that needs to grow very quickly in Lebanon and in the region, because it will address the market needs for experts in hundreds of specializations in the VTE sector. And it will also address a serious issue of unemployment in the youth. So I would like to see that sector grow in terms of cooperation between Lebanon and Germany, whether at the public level or the private sector.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I've come from a small country in the Gulf. I wouldn't compare our economy to German economy, definitely. Oman is a small country. We enjoy very strong relations with Germany. That goes back to the early 70s. Very strong political relations. We have a number of German companies working there, especially in the infrastructure and telecommunication field. Although the political relations are strong, but the economic side is not as we how we'd wished. The trade deficit is quite huge between export and import from Germany. That almost 1/10 of the German export to Oman, our export to Germany. So we would like to work on that front. We would like to encourage the delegations from both sides to meet together, and we would like to create a platform where both sides can meet. We would like to work on barriers. If there are any barriers, we would like to work on to lift those barriers if they exist. And if we manage to put our hand on those barriers, we'll definitely will smooth the economical relation later on. We enjoyed Germany know-how in the SMEs field in the last, I think, 3-4 years, and we would like to enhance that further. We know Germany is quite very strong in that field, and we need to enhance that and bring that to a level where we match the political relations. The other side of that is, if we are talking about the Arab world, I think we need to study the barriers. What are the barriers now existing, and that forbidding or hindering further economical growth between the two sides? I'm not aware of, to be honest, because I'm not in the economical side, but definitely there must be some barriers that keeping the relation in that lower level at this stage. As I've heard from their excellencies now, they wish to enhance this relation. So there must be barriers there, hindering that sort of development. But yes, we wish that we point our fingers to those barriers, and we try to establish dialogue where we can remove those barriers and enhance the relation in both, of course, economical and political sides. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Yakis?
Thank you very much. Not being, of course, Arab country, I can only speak in light of the cooperation between Turkey and Germany and how it could be replicated with the Arab countries. One of them is for the future, not for today, because we are talking of economic relations, which is immediate, ready area. An area which is not ready is, of course, the civil society. Civil society, the development of the society is very slow in the Middle Eastern countries. In Turkey also, civil society is very much behind the civil society in Germany. And in the Middle East countries, it is even perhaps more slow. So if Germany could make projects in order to develop civil society, the role that the non-governmental organization can play in the society, this may boost future relations, which may prepare the ground for more advanced economic development. This is one thing. Secondly, of course, is the education. In the Arab countries, English is a very dominant language, with the exception of the Maghreb countries, Tunisia, Algeria, and Morocco, where French is dominant. In Lebanon, French was dominant and still continues to be dominant, perhaps to a certain extent. English is now competing with it. So German language also has to be promoted, and this could be done either by establishing universities. In Turkey, we established a German university. So whether it is possible to look into this possibility may help. This is for the longer future. For immediate effect, one subject, it is the one that you mentioned. There are several initiatives of cooperation in the question of transboundary waters in the Middle East. Because Middle East, especially the Middle East, I mean, when I talk Turkey, Egypt, Turkey, Syria, and Iraq, we have common rivers there, Euphrates and Tigris, where we have political problems, and we couldn't overcome this. I chaired since 25 years ago technical committees, but we got stuck in politics, and we gave up now on insisting on political dimension, but start to discuss the technical cooperation, cooperation in technical area, which has no political sensitivity, such as measurement techniques, pollution level measurements, that type of things, which may open the way for the future for closer cooperation. And Switzerland and Sweden, two countries, are helping these three countries for them to come together and discuss these technical questions. Germany also may wish to assume a similar role, again, for that type of thing. Between countries, among the Arab countries, there are, of course, similar problems between Lebanon and Syria, because the Orontos River is common to them. And, of course, Nile, which is common to several other countries, some of them not Arab countries, but, of course, it will help. So water cooperation in the water area, transboundary water areas, is one subject. The other is the question of the Syrian refugees, which is a problem with Germany has taken the lead and set a very good example with the initiative by Chancellor Angela Merkel. Despite the resistance of many European countries, many member countries of the European Union, she had taken initiative in order to accommodate more Syrians than any other country. Of course, because of the high population of Germany, it is entitled to it has to do so. But of course, there are lessons that Germany can utilize from the bad experience that the Turkish workers in 1960s came here, and at that time, neither Turkish authorities nor the German authorities thought that these people were going to may stay here for a long time. Because at that time, the perception was that these people, after having spared some money to buy a pair of oxen or to open a small shop in their village, they will go back. They did not. And they were left isolated in the German society and alienated, and they created their own ghetto, with all negative consequences of it. Now that we have this experience, perhaps Germany, I know that they are still doing it, but perhaps more inspiration from these wrong mistakes of the past, more effort should be devoted to integrate the Syrian refugees into the society since the beginning. Because in this group, there will be people, young people, challenge-looking, that could learn, who could learn German easily, but there are middle-aged people or old-aged people. For them, learning a language after that period is very difficult, but you may still integrate them into society without learning properly the language. This is possible. And some of them may be illiterate. Learning language will be all the more difficult for them. But these lessons could be utilized. One small subject, of course, where Turkish-German economic cooperation was very successful, is the small and medium-sized industries, enterprises. And Germany is very much advanced in this area. And what is needed the most in the Arab countries is to spread the welfare not to the rich people in these countries, but to as many Arab as possible. This could be done better by cooperating in the area of the small and medium-sized enterprises. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We have a broad table with issues where we should discuss about, from trade frameworks. Is it good if only we from Germany can sell our products to the Arab or Mediterranean countries? Or should we also open up our European markets, and how should we define the standards? From movements, immigration issues, and I'm quite sure Turkey is a very important transmitter between Occident and Orient, especially also because of our common immigration knowledges. And it's quite interesting to know, maybe also for you, that even if the small and medium enterprises are the backbone of the German economy, much more self-employed are immigrants in Germany. The very small enterprises, mostly, or not mostly, but more than in the German population, in the original German population, are self-employed by the immigrants.
Family enterprises.
Family enterprises, and they have more opportunities because it's more difficult to get a job in an enterprise for them because of language issues. And today, on the flight from Düsseldorf here to Berlin, I read in a newspaper that Germany in the last year invested 60 million euros for learning German language abroad, to make sure that young people are able to come to Germany for studying. But 2/3 of the students from abroad are studying in German with an English language. So we pay 60 million euro for learning Germany to study in Germany, and they study in English. This is also interesting. But what Mark didn't say during the introduction, and I forget before, after I left German federal government in December 2013, I took a year off. And since 2015, I'm working in a high-tech enterprise in Germany. It's a Rheinmetall group. It's a high-technology enterprise with two main pillars, mobility and security, automotive and defense. And I'm the head of the international strategy development and for the governmental affairs abroad, not in Germany. And what I learned, and I think this could be the starting point for our discussion, is well-skilled labor force. During my time as a federal minister, we had the time of the so-called Arab Spring. And we had a lot of young people with formally high education and no perspective for a job. And we had a lot of young people with no formal education and also with no perspective for a job. And I learned in my time as a minister and in my time since I'm in this high-tech enterprise that vocational training is the main issue to participate in society and economy and to have the opportunity for a self-fulfilled life later on. And only for starting the discussion, because we have our exporting frameworks, especially in the defense issues from Germany. It's more difficult with the Arab world than it should be sometimes. But there's one very exciting example. Our enterprise built wheeled vehicle factory in Algeria. And to make sure that this factory can be run later on by Algerians and not by expats, we trained more than 200 young Algerians in Germany in our facilities as welders and mechatronics, and up to 3 years with the German language, with the cultural program, with the vocational training. It was, as far as I remember, paid by Qatar for the Algerian government. And now we produce the wheeled vehicles in Germany, send them in a box to Algeria. It's a armored vehicle, a transport vehicle, but you also can build trucks and buses in this factory later on. We call it Fox in the Box because the name of the vehicle is Fox. We send the Fox in the box to Algeria, and then Germany trained young people running the factory to assemble these cars later on for the Algerian security organizations. And we only need 3 expats for running this factory in Algeria, because all the young people are well-trained, skilled labor force. They have a vocational training which fits for the needs of the country and which makes sure that they are able to finance their own life by their work. So how can we manage? My question in the auditorium, and you have to decide who wants to answer. It's difficult with so many panelists. How can we organize, not from Germany, but maybe with our knowledge, that the countries in the Arabic world, and Malaysia is also one of them, a little bit, even if it's Asia, that they can implement the things which makes the system so successful, the mix of theoretical and practical education. I don't want to say state and private sector, because sometimes the private sector is too weak in some countries, but the mix of theoretical and practical education which fits the needs of the economy to make sure that the people are not only able to make their job, but also able to think forward if they have challenges to solve. Yes, please.
I would like to share here a similar example. One of the projects that was started in UAE is to develop a semiconductor business, something related to the chip, related to the computer issues. And that was very complicated to start that business with the local new graduate students. So the idea and the decision was taken to buy a manufacturing company from Germany. And this is exactly what happened. This company was bought by the Abu Dhabi government. And of course, they had to continue run the operational of that company. But the new mechanism was to send new graduate or even college students to come and learn how these semiconductors are made and how could they be developed. Within years, those generation became expert. So now phase 2 is to those students, they are not students anymore, they are employees, to go back home and start developing these businesses. Few weeks ago, there's another example. A few weeks ago, I met a company and they gave me a tour. This company is manufacturing products for A380, the airplanes. I was surprised to see some products are manufactured in UAE. And now they want to go into more sophisticated products and larger equipment. And this is, I think,
Mike?
When I said with this guy, So when I sat with the management of that company, what they were planning to do, similar example. They were saying, you know what, we're going to send the new employees to the companies that are producing these products. And just by sending them will not add value. So we're going to buy that company, we're going to buy a piece of that company, and by buying it, it will make us eligible to send our own employees, and they will further develop, be more specialized into these products. Then when they go back, they will take the experience, of course, the profit, and not to forget the know-how and the knowledge which are available in the German education system.
I'm just trying to have a more general view about how we can benefit from that. And I just recall His Excellency from Turkey when he said that we need to learn from the close relationship between Turkey and Germany and how we can replicate that in the Arab world. And the reality is that we need to get what is the good lessons are and try to replicate them. And as I was mentioning, in the case of Egypt, for example, we have the German University in Cairo. We have around 5-6 German schools in Cairo, as well as we have the Mubarak Kohl technical project between Egypt and Germany. So the reality is that you need to go to long experience with Turkey to see where are the bright spots there, and we need to understand how we can replicate that in the relationship between Arab countries and Germany. And the reality is not about the capital flow, is not only about the theoretical education, but more is about to get the people skilled how to make a matching between the demand in the real life and what you learn in the university. So the reality is that you need to create trainers. So it's not only to get some people from Egypt or United Arab Emirates or Lebanon to go there to Germany to understand and to get some knowledge, but more is how to convert those people from being only taking this information to be trainer as well. So in reality, if we take 100 from there and every 100 return back to their country, train another 100, so you can understand how many skilled people will be. So the reality is that without getting to more details, let us try to get some good example to understand how it did work and try to replicate it in a larger number of countries and larger number of people.
Thank you. Mr. Minister Diab, you have been responsible for education in your country, higher education and vocational training. How did you organize it, and what could we as Germany help? I remember as a minister we had the GIZ and had our training courses in several countries of the world. Now in our enterprise we have the Rheinmetall Academy. We sell training on different levels. What's the best way for the countries on the southern side of the Mediterranean?
Well, we had major cooperations with GIZ as well as other organizations. But before I answer that, as I mentioned, vocational sector is a sector that Lebanon and indeed the whole of the Arab region can benefit from Germany, because Germany is so advanced in that area. And there's no doubt in my mind that education will provide the most long-term impact on our new generations. We want students to be empowered to get vocational and technical education, not to find jobs, but to create their own jobs, to create their own companies, to create their own organizations, whether small or medium enterprises. So I strongly believe that the best possible cooperation that will be long-lasting and that will have an impactful results would be in the area of vocational and technical education. It's a matter of, I mean, the protocols are there in as far as cooperation between the two countries. In answer to your question, as far as when I was in the ministry, in fact, I made major changes in the vocational and technical education sector, which, I mean, unfortunately, in Lebanon, as well as in the whole of the Arab region, there's a psychological barrier. People view VTE as the dumpster of education. You fail here, you go to VTE. You fail there, which is completely the opposite in Germany. VTE graduates get the best jobs, the best salaries, the best future. And I was trying to instill that change to some extent. I succeeded because, for example, the postgraduate component of VTE in Lebanon is the TS and the LT, Licence Technique. And I discovered that this was a 3+2 5-year program. And for some reason, there were courses being repeated, and I transformed that to 2+1. So now you could finish the LT in 3 instead of 5 years, which is equivalent to a bachelor in the regular academic programs. And that provided a lot of encouragement for students to go into VTE. I also created 3,500 scholarships. So, of course, the public sector is free, but scholarships in the sense they get salary, monthly salary. It's small, but it's an incentive for students, and that also incentivized the students to go into this. Of course, I saved a lot of money by centralizing labs. There used to be very expensive labs, duplicate, that were 1 kilometer apart. Again, for political reasons, I don't want to go into that right now, but to a large extent, I managed to unify this and therefore save money. So Lebanon is, to some extent, prepared and ready to benefit from the already existing VTE infrastructure and the already existing cooperation with Germany. But we need to intensify that in terms of volume, in terms of identifying the high priority market needs in Lebanon. And the same model can be replicated for the rest of the Arab region. And I think this will be a win-win scenario for all concerned.
That's very interesting, if I can capture it. What I learned when I traveled the Arab countries, especially in the time as a minister, I learned that most of the young people want to have a formally very high university education, and they don't want to work on the ground. But in Germany, we learned that you can earn much more money sometimes with a very good education in VTE, more than with studying politics or things like this. How can you change in Arab countries the public opinion that you have to have a university degree to be happy in your life, but not with a VTE? Can there be a concept of the cooperation with the medias, or how can you change it? Because the work is there. The cities need the skilled labor force to organize all the wastewater treatment, the water supply, all what you have to do in a big city, and the cities are growing every day. So how can you change this image, this bad image of a job, of a good trained job, instead of a university degree?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
No, ladies first.
I was thinking in Malaysia, we have lots of German big corporations that invested in Malaysia in the semiconductors line and some machineries and so on and so forth, and some parts. But then in Malaysia, of late, what shall I say, the employment rate now has gone down, and there's closure of these factories in Malaysia. But then the cooperation, of course, we would appreciate that you coming to Malaysia in terms of transferring your technology and expertise and so on and so forth. And also, we also are moving towards the technical education in Malaysia, where we need that you don't have to go for your paper qualification, the good degrees and so on and so forth. Vocational trade is more important. But then the way I see it, because the topic of today's discussion was Germany's participation in the Arab world, so I really hope that Germany can go into more actively in the poorer Arab countries, because we're the rich ones, like of course Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and these are places are flourishing in their economy. But the poorer Arab countries need help, and of course, to begin with, we have to give them the kind of education that they need. And one thing that I observe is language seems to be a barrier, because Germans strongly emphasize on its Germany language, where you see all over, you in the TV programs, so there's no English program, but it's all in Germany, and the language is important for one's sovereignty. That I understand. But how do we break this barrier so that the language wouldn't be a barrier for them to move on, to have that association or cooperation with German? And I want Germany also to play a more active role, like I said, in the poorer Arab worlds, where they need that kind of cooperation in terms of education, in terms of embedding the advanced technologies which Germany has acquired, and with that kind of participation, then only we can raise the economy, the skill, and therefore the economy of the country itself. In this case, the Arab world will be uplifted and will be more progressive, and thus reducing reducing the tensions and less time to fight, less time to have war. So this is something that I think Germany has to play a more strategic role.
This is very interesting for me to hear. Thank you very much. Because when I traveled, and I was in charge as a minister for the poor countries. Countries like Bahrain, Oman are able to finance themselves what we have to deliver with our Rheinmetall Academy nowadays. That time we had the GIZ and governmental corporations where we agreed in the programs we wanted to do. But wherever I've been, and even in the poor countries, they told me, we don't want aid. We want investment. And we don't want to have your experts in our country. We want you to help us to make our people experts themselves, to create our own development. And this is very important. And I think the language is not the problem in this case, because most of Germans are able to speak English. It's more important and difficult in the French-speaking part of the world. And what was interesting for me, and I know that you wanted to say something about, wherever I've been, and that's the point where Turkey, of course, is a transmitter. If it was in Mogadishu, or in Yemen, or in Djibouti, that time the former Prime Minister Erdogan has been there 1 or 2 weeks before. When I came to Mogadishu, Erdogan has been there a week before. When I came to Sana'a, Erdogan has been there 2 weeks before. When I've been in Djibouti, he has been there 1 week before. So what's the role in this cooperation of the Turkish government in the moment?
I will answer this question after perhaps
I know you are out of office, yes? You can't talk for the government, but you know it maybe.
No, I will also make my comments on this subject. But the first question, I was going to say a few words regarding the first question. That's to say, when the university educated people do not approach readily the job where they can earn money, they want to be in the office, etc. Especially in the Arab countries, in the Gulf countries, they have to be working in the air-conditioned office, and nobody is prepared to go out in the field. But one thing that has to be taken into consideration in answering your question is that, first of all, Arab countries are not a monolith. There are Gulf countries where this rule functions one way. There are countries like Egypt, Morocco, and other countries, or Sudan, where the answer to your question is entirely different. In the oil-rich Arab countries, I don't want to go too far in the presence of Mr. Balooshi, because he knows his country and his region much better than any one of us. In Saudi Arabia, where I served as ambassador for 4 years, the subsidies that the Saudi government extends to the Saudi citizens is such that it will be better if they do not work. It is designed that way. If you own a camel, you get a subsidy of that many Saudi riyal. If you plant one date tree, then you get a subsidy. And these dates or these camels, the dates are not planted by Saudis themselves, but they bring people from Philippines, and they are the ones who plant it. And the Saudi owner gets the money. And the same thing for for owning a camel. So when you have a country, a budget or a finance system which encourages people not to work, then it is difficult. But in countries like Egypt, Morocco, and the others, the people need to work, and there it's a question of culture. And it will take generations, perhaps, to change this mentality, because educated people should not dirty their hands with soil and that type of things. Even if he's an agronomer, he will not touch the soil because he is university graduated. But if we start with the small-scale industries, etc., there people will see the merit of wearing overall, dirty with the grease and that type of things, and earn money. And the society will see that the one who works gets money. This is one thing. Now I go to your second question. Turkey wanted to open up to Africa belatedly, because Africa was discovered already in the second half of the 19th century, when Stanley and the others went to find out the sources of the Congo River. And Turkey was too late, actually, to open up to these markets. And in between 2002, when the present ruling party came to power, I am one of the founders of the party, but later on I disagreed on many foreign policy issues, so we are not on the same wavelength at present. But from 2002 up to 2006, 7, etc., Turkey's economy was performing very well, and Turkey needed also outlets. And Africa was a good target and perhaps easier target. So this opening up started at that time, continued by slowing down, but now Turkey, with its all problems in Syria, in Egypt, in Iraq, with Russia, with Israel, and now with the military coup, I don't think that Turkey will be able to cope with all these questions, plus the African opening. It was at that time, it was possible, it was appropriate, right thing, but Turkey perhaps could not understand that it cannot compete with France in Western African countries. In Burkina Faso, you find thousands of Sorbonne graduates people, and they know Paris by heart, and they barely can find the place of Turkey on the world map. And I mean, you cannot compete with France in Western Africa, and with East Africa, you cannot compete with Britain, and now with China everywhere in Africa. So Turkey, it goes now beyond the capacity of Turkey. It was good and appropriate at that time, and something which is related to the coup now, those who opened the way for the Turkish companies to penetrate these areas were the students of the schools of Gülen community, which is now entirely disgraced, in total disgrace. And whether these old students of the Gülen schools in African countries will be as supportive as in the olden time, we do not know. So the continuation of Turkey's presence or penetration into Africa may be slowed down.
Thank you.
Please.
Yes.
I just have one comment on the question, actually. The comments again, and we have the former Minister of Education, is about how to change the public opinion or the mentality of young Arabs from the educational program, from the university. This is a vocational one. I guess it's a part, again, it's about the subsidy. Still, in the most of the Arab world, it's government subsidizing studying in the university. It's at a nominal price. So I guess it's about the political will and the educational system that needs to be changed. It's that if it's understandable that you are subsidizing students in the schools at the level of the secondary school, I do not think that you need to continue to do that as a university level. But on contrast, you need to subsidize people who are going to the vocational program. After that, not as a university level. This is just one comment. The question is, I would like to ask, I noticed that we are all talking in one direction. Even the title is the cooperation between Germany and the Arab world, but we all talking about how Arab world can increase or enhance the presence of Germany in the Arab world. But we did not hear the other way. We need to have it like a double way, and this is what I would like to ask, to hear about you about what do you think the relationship between you and the Arab world?
That's what I wanted to ask Mr. Khalaf, because I know there's a new localization strategy in Saudi Arabia. And the Arab countries, a lot of Arab countries, have a lot of money. And they are investing abroad. They are investing in the European Union, United States, also in Germany. In some very important industrial enterprises of Germany, they have nearly the majority. Could it be a way for the cooperation between Arab countries and Germany to buy in the knowledge about vocational training for a localization strategy in the Arab countries? And what should be the framework for it to make sure that at least the young Arabs don't want to command an office with air condition, but also want to command a factory, maybe?
Yeah. Allow me to
and then
answer.
be open for the
Yes.
for the auditorium.
Yeah, allow me to answer your question in two ways. The first way is when you talked how to shift from people looking for BA, MBAs, and whatever, instead of technical diplomas. In fact, it leads to the second question you're asking. We have to look at the fundamentals of each economy. Let's take, for example, Lebanon. Technical diplomas are oriented to industrial sectors, agriculture sector. If the economy itself is based on financial sector and services, banks, they were asking for BA, now they are asking for MBA. Services also. If you study any technical diploma, it will not help you with the main sectors on which the economy is having the main resources. This is why, if Germany would like to help in shifting from one side to another, is by helping funding some industries in the region, which will ask for those technical diploma. The second question, so if those Arab countries are investing in the Western countries and they are acquiring the know-how, but not only the know-how, they can then have a kind of joint venture with those German industries to open a part of our subsidiaries in the Arab region as industrial companies, because you are known for your industrial sector. And then those industries can hire a lot of young Arab people, asking them to have technical diplomas. This is how we can shift. If we want just to talk about shifting the sentiment for this from this to this, it will not work. You have to offer them the job opportunities, and those job opportunities should be dedicated or specialized with for those technical diplomas. This is how you create the demand for it, and then they will study.
Do you think the countries have to make their homework before to create a legal framework for investment? Because as long as the ruler of a country is able to say, now your investment is mine, goodbye,
it's shifting.
It will be difficult.
It's shifting now. Just like 3 weeks ago or 1 month ago, Saudi Arabia start authorizing 100% ownership by foreigners. If you want to have your own industry in Saudi Arabia, now you are allowed to have it just, I think, 3 weeks ago. And this is how, and you know that Saudi Arabia is a leader in the region, and Egypt also. And Abu Dhabi. Okay.
And Malaysia is very big.
Malaysia also. So then I think that we are shifting now for a new era where we have to open our legislation for international investors.
Thank you. I know we have a lot of issues to discuss further, but I would like to take the last 15 minutes to open up to the auditorium. We talked about investment, we talked about education, especially vocational training. We only talked very short about the movement situations in the world and the security issues about of this. So the floor is open, up to you. If you have questions, please tell whom you will ask what. And we need a microphone. It's hello? Could you organize a microphone for the auditorium? It would be nice if somebody... We have a question over there. The young lady in the second last row.
Hello, thank you very much for this interactive session. And my name is Yara Mwalla. I'm from Syria, and I'm doing my PhD in cultural diplomacy and international relations here at the ICD. Actually, I had two questions. First was about the economic cooperation and why Germany is really interested in investing in the Arab world, and it takes two to make a cooperation. So thanks for asking the question, and I mean, if you can also tell us more about that, that would be very useful. And the second question, and it's a very naive question, sorry for asking because I don't have much of economic background, but we learned that economic power is part of the hard power. And it's not part of the soft power that cultural diplomacies are doing. And to give an example, that Germany stopped any economic cooperation with Syria and make the sanctions on them. And due to that, there is a lot of suffering in Syria for this. So how can cultural diplomacy play a role in softening this power, the economic cooperation? And how do you see the future of this cooperation with countries under such circumstances like Syria? Thank you.
And did you ask me personally or whom in the auditorium?
It's your turn.
It would be nice if you ask our guests. Okay, I will make it short. Yes, economical power is hard power. And I think I'm not part of the party of the Chancellor. I'm a free Democrat, a liberal. Liberal in the United States is a communist, I guess. So in Germany, it's a free Democrat. So the middle of the political spectrum. But I was a minister in her last cabinet, and I think she used economic power as a hard power for soft results. When we opened up 1 year ago the borders, after the people have been on the highway walking to the German borders, it was right. I'm quite sure it was the right decision. It was the only decision. But this was a soft decision, even if it was hard for the internal policy market in Germany. But after that, she used the economic power to get a European decision to secure the European borders. Even if some countries don't think in the same way. The so-called Balkan route is closed. And we are discussing with our partners in North Africa about registration camps to make sure in the future that people who have a right for asylum or a reason for being a refugee don't have to jump into small boats anymore, but step in a plane and come to Europe. And we have to create perspectives for the people which don't have the right to call for asylum or be a refugee, to make sure that they can create a small enterprise or whatever in the home region where they are coming from, or in the region where the registrations camp are. It depends on the decisions of the governments of these countries if they are cooperating. But to come to the point now, which allows for Frontex also to act in not member countries of the European Union, if the country agrees. This is the result of hard power. So economic power can be both. It can be humanitarian and it can be really strong. But for the investment, it was the question I asked Mr. Khalaf, as long as the investment is not secured, German enterprises want to sell the products. In the moment where you have a perspective for a secured investment and you have a well-skilled labor force to produce on a high standard, on your standard, your products in a localization way, it's more cheaper than to send expats or to transport the products and things like this. It depends on the legal framework which decides if you are able to work in a country or not, and it depends on the labor force if you are able to hold your standard. And there Germany can assist with corporations like with GIZ, of course, but at least it's the own opportunity of those countries because, as I told before, they don't want aid. They want to become the specialists themselves. And I think this is the way for cooperation. And as long as you have an economic interest in, you're also able to finance it. Somebody else in the audience? No.
That's fine.
Okay.
Are there more questions? Yes, please.
Hello. My name is Dr. Ibrahim from Iraq. When we talk about the Arab world, there's a special case for each country. About my country, about Iraq, you know, there is a war, and most of the cities and villages destroyed. When we want to make a relationship with another country, we thinking about what can he do for us. About Germany, there is a crash and there is a good idea about Iraqi people, about Germany machines and Germany thought. Therefore, I ask why the Germany government and Germany company, why didn't take her place by Iraq rebuilt to this time. We don't find any company just yet. Just talking and we don't find. Now everything is okay. The free became. I think that's a good time to build this relationship now. Thank you.
I'm really with you. If I may, I'm sorry, I'm not a panelist. Normally I have to moderate the panel, but I think it's a question to me in this case. I've been in Iraq in 2011 and a few weeks ago. In 2011, as a federal minister, it was more dangerous than a few weeks ago, but still it's the case of security. And I know that the German government has funds to assist Iraq to secure critical infrastructure and things you need for your economy, and you need your economy for the employees, and you need the employees for the taxes and for fighting poverty and all these things. But as long as the government in Iraq don't ask for it, Germany never will do it. You have critical infrastructure in the oil and gas industry. You have critical infrastructure in harbors, in transportation, and not every pipeline is secured, and all these things. And as long as the security situation is so difficult that every day it can happen that these critical infrastructure will be destroyed, your government should have an interest to secure it. And to secure it as a fundamental necessity to fight poverty in the end, your government has to ask for it. Not in the way of begging, but just to say, we have a security issue. We need our infrastructure for the industry to make sure that people are able to work. The people need the work to earn money. The state needs the money they earned as taxes to pay all the necessary equipment a state have to finance. And they need the work to feed the children, to pay for the education and things like this. But if your government is in a situation where they still don't want to ask for it. Nobody will do it themselves. And if you don't solve the security issue, you don't have investment later on. Yep. Bitte.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I think you're absolutely right. It down to the government of our countries. Because when you float a tender, there is always a clause in the tender that part of the ICV, the in-country values, go back to the country, where part of the what is called the offset amount, I think. Yes. So this is, you as a country should put that in the agreement, and the company will definitely reinvest that in the society to develop the skills, to participate in any sort of projects, benefits the society, to develop the labor workforce and so forth. So it's to us. The agreement, it's common interest for both. We open windows for opportunities for other countries to come and build projects. And for that, opening that windows, of course, your legislation, your regulation should be also free and attractive to attract international companies to come to your country. But at the same time, okay, I opened this window, so I would like them also to benefit the society from the profit that they have gained from X projects. So with that, we can definitely develop our workforce. I just would like to go back to this on the workforce issue. We in the Gulf area is a bit different than the other Arab countries because we don't have workforce. We rely totally on expats. So the issue is totally different here. We have cultural issues, getting our people to accept all jobs. So we accept that, fine, not a problem. We in Oman, we faced that problem in the early 80s when we started the scheme Omanization, localizing, some certain jobs. Some jobs be rejected totally from the public. It just did not suit them. So what we did, we focused on certain kind of jobs, which is acceptable. School levels increasing, okay. Jobs being taken by expats. So we started the vocational trainings on certain jobs, and we succeeded in areas like tourism. We succeeded in areas in oil and gas and financial industry. Now the localization or the Omanization in some sectors exceeded 90%. So we started, listen boys, this is a job for you. You will not have a job if you don't go to this training course. So we accepted it. You need to impose some regulations here, to force it in order for people to accept it. It was, definitely some rebellions and people did not like it. But now, I think we enjoy quite a good, skilled workforce. We are in a stage now, we would like to have that, that jump. Change this workforce in some areas, in some fields, to create our SMEs. We have a number of people, quite a sizable workforce, Omani workforce. We would like them to create their own companies in technical areas. This is not yet happening. We've been, knocking doors on Germans in other countries. They've been helping us. We would like that to open wider, that door to open wider, and get their expertise to promote the SMEs, because eventually we know that will be the backbone of our economy, not oil and gas. Thank you.
Thank you. I have to close it. A last question, because we are running out of time.
I already, promised last question.
I wanted to...
Maybe if someone would like to ask, maybe can give him the floor. Maybe I will have 1 minute. Maybe we can divide our questions in two. I can say in 1 minute.
Okay, you divide your last question. It's okay.
Really?
But after that, I have to close it.
That's great. I had a comment. Maybe I will retrieve it and then ask directly my questions. Do you think that what happened now in Germany, the terrorist attacks that happened in the last few days and weeks in Germany, maybe will affect attracting legal migrants from the Arab world and Muslim world? I think this is very important now, and my comment was for the German language is now a barrier for having more people to come to Germany here to learn. I think when I see I'm working in the Egyptian embassy, and I would like to have training for doctors here, and no few number from them would like to come as you speak German, and the other one don't have the chance.
I think I got it, but it's a very long half question.
Thank you very much.
The,
Okay,
second,
I'll stop on
the
this.
second part of the half question, please.
Okay.
In brief.
In brief, yes.
We are melting.
It's warm.
Thank you very much. My name is Johanna Suleta, and I work in the arts and culture in the UK. I wonder, between Germany and the Arab world, how long does it take, and this will involve you as well as any other panelists that will volunteer for the second part, but how long would it take in Germany and in the Arab world to have an idea and implement it, and for these both plans to meet? I mean, from what you develop in an economic plan of development to actually be considered into action, and how? What's the time frame in both cases? Thank you.
Frank,
You know.
Frank and also brief. I have no idea, but it's still it's a process. It's still going on. We are cooperating all the time, but we are not a colonialist. We don't want to make the Arab world German, and the Arab world doesn't want to become German, I guess, but they want to learn out of our experiences, and we have to learn out of their experience. That's the reason why I'm a fan of migration, of temporary migration, to exchange knowledges and people. And in the ideal way, normally you don't leave your country to live the rest of your life in another country, like you do it now. Now you live a little time in Germany, hopefully. And then you go back maybe to France. And then you go back maybe to Great Britain. And then you go back, or to England, or what part ever it will be in the future. I don't know it. So also this I don't know. I think it's a process which we have to organize in the best manner. And yes, of course, it will change the public opinion. And it changed already the published opinion. And this is the first step. If the published opinion is changing, the public opinion normally follows. And it's a difficult situation because we wanted to help the people. I'm one of 82 million. So Germany wanted, the German government wanted. The chancellor decided that the German people want to help the people. And most of the people wanted it too. But we also want to live in security. We don't want to import external challenges into our internal life. We don't want to have the Turkish discussions on the German streets, and we don't want to have the Arab bombs in the German refugee camps, wherever. And it will change the opinion, of course, but I have no idea in what way. But we don't become a police state. A lot of my former colleagues, which are still in office, have the same ritual discussions that I had when I've been in office. Of course, you have to produce engagement. You have to show that you will solve all these challenges. You have to make the people feeling secured. But at least there's no idea till now which will change anything. Even if you change the law, we have good laws. They are working. We have good police. They can work. We don't need our army in our own country because there are no trained policemen. In Germany, police has a lot of rules in which they don't use them because a soldier can't, he doesn't know it. You as a citizen can bring them to court. And they lose their job and their future and whatever. So it's a good rule that we have a division of internal and external security systems. And this discussion is coming every time. If a child is raped, you discuss about the army in the country. If a terrorist has a bomb, you start a discussion about the army in the country. We never will do it. It's against our constitution, and even if a so-called big coalition like we have in the government in the moment is becoming smaller and smaller, even if you have such a big majority in the parliament, you don't get enough votes for changing the constitution. Not now. Maybe if something very horrible will happen, but I don't hope it. And I think, no, we learned a lot of our history, and we don't want to repeat it. Thank you, all the panelists, for the discussion. I'm sorry that we haven't had enough time for every issue of the discussion we could call up. And thank you in the auditorium for listening us and for the last very brief questions.